You're still watching Business Morning on Channels Television, and we're broadcasting live from Lagos, Nigeria. As I said earlier on when I started the program, today on the program we're going to be talking about the latest move by the Asset Management Company of Nigeria to sell 100% of Mainstreet Bank Limited. Of course, the shareholders have kicked against this, but to talk more about some of the issues that have been raised, and of course, look at the best way forward for all parties concerned, I'm being joined on the program by the Chief Executive Officer of the Asset Management Company of Nigeria, Mr. Mustapha Chike Obi. Good morning, Mr. Chike Obi, and thank you for coming in.
Good morning, Harriet.
Of course, we're hoping also to be joined by the former chairman of Business Law of the Nigeria Bar Association, Lagos Chapter, Mr. George Itomi. Hoping he should join us on phone to look at the legal angle to all of these issues that will be coming up. But first of all, let me ask you, because I'm very sure that's like the first thing everybody's going to be thinking about. Why the issue? Why the furore over the planned sale of Mainstreet banks? It's not as if they didn't know that after it was nationalized, it eventually was going to get to this. So why now? Why are they kicking against it? Why are shareholders kicking against it?
Well, you say shareholders. There's only one shareholder of Mainstreet Bank, and that's AMCON. The old Afribank has been wound down legally by a court, Federal High Court. It's been wound down. Afribank no longer exists. So when you say shareholders of Mainstreet Bank, that doesn't exist. It's only AMCON.
So AMCON is the only investor?
AMCON is the only shareholder of Mainstreet Bank today. The old Afribank has been wound down. It was wound down because it had significant negative capital, which would have affected depositors. After it was breached by NDIC, AMCON had to eject close to 450 billion naira to make sure the depositors got their monies back, because the depositors were the most vulnerable of the people involved in the old Afribank. Like I've said in many places, anybody that wants to give back to AMCON the 450 billion it injected into the breach bank can have Mainstreet Bank anytime they want. But it seems to me as if certain people have destroyed a bank, destroyed depositors' monies. They had to be rescued at significant cost, and now they want to come back and say, give us the bank for free. I think that would be very unfair, not just to the taxpayers of Nigeria, but to everybody involved in the process. This sale has been mooted for well over a year. It was never AMCON's intention to keep these bridge banks for any length of time. We had announced a timetable. We had announced Enterprise Bank first, Mainstreet Bank second, and Keystone Bank third. Everything has been done transparently. And as a proof of that, the EOI was responded to by 25 people, 25 different interests from all over the world. All sectors were able to respond to the EOI in 9 days.
Mr. Chike, we just quickly hold on to your thoughts. Of course, we're being joined on the program via telephone by Mr. George Itomi. He's a business lawyer and former chairman, section on business law of the NBA. Mr. Itomi, thank you so much for coming in this morning. Just hold on for a little while. Mr. Chike Obi is still trying to, give us at least a background to the reason why all of this is coming up, and we'll come to get your thoughts on it as regards what the legal aspect of it. Mr. Chike Obi, you spoke about the fact that the expression of interest actually saw about 25 investors bid for it. Now, the shareholders, because they still feel that they have a stake in, even though it's a bridge bank and it's been overtaken by the government and the rest of it, they feel they still have a stake, and they felt that the process wasn't transparent enough, that the way AMCON went about it, it was almost like AMCON bullied them. Because in spite of the fact that they know that it's, the matter is totally out of their hands because of the situation that happened, based on what you actually mentioned, and then the CBN's intervention, as of course the NDIC's intervention and the rest of it, they still feel that they still have a stake in it and they shouldn't be shortchanged. So why do they feel that AMCON has been bullying them?
Well, I don't know why, because AMCON has not bullied anybody. This is the same process we went through with Enterprise Bank, and it has gone smoothly so far. So it must be something peculiar to Afribank, the old Afribank shareholders, who, I repeat, ran the bank down to the point where it had to be rescued with over 450 billion naira. So I don't understand why they feel they were bullied. It was in the interest of the nation to rescue the bank and rescue the shareholders. But in that process, all the old shareholders were wiped out. And like I say, any of the old shareholders that feels they were treated badly should produce the 450 billion naira that we used in, and we'll happily give them back the bank.
But you see, they've gone to court.
They have gone to court 3 times. They have lost in every case. Afribank has been wound down legally. As a legal entity, Afribank does not exist.
But then you know that there was actually a publication in the papers sometime last week, I talked about it, about cavear emptor, and they're complaining that they actually have 2 cases in court against AMCON, against NDIC, against the CBN. And so they feel that since the matter is still in court rather, AMCON going ahead with this planned sale is sub judice. Is going in total adherence to what the courts are actually saying.
There is no case in court that challenges the ownership of Mainstreet Bank with AMCON. There is no case in court that prevents AMCON from selling its interest in Mainstreet Bank. So I don't understand what these people are saying. I don't even know who they are. If somebody has a serious gripe about the process, we're available. They should come to us. We don't know who these people are. These are faceless people who are calling themselves all sorts of names, and they have not, I do not know a single name that's associating itself with this. So my point is, I don't even know who these people are. All I want to assure Nigerians is that the process is transparent. Expression of interest is not a complicated process. You tell us who you are, you tell us why you want to buy the bank, and then on the basis of that, we'll give you further information. It doesn't take, anybody can do it in 48 hours. 9 days is generous. So 25 people have responded, they will get further information, and the process will continue in a transparent fashion. Of the 25 respondents, I can say very, very frankly, I don't know any of them.
That is actually debatable, but just hold on to that thought. Mr. Itomi, thank you so much for staying online. Of course, you listened to what Mr. Chike Obi has said as regards the matter. Now, looking at his own standpoint as representative of AMCON and the standpoint of the shareholders, how should they proceed legally on this matter?
Thank you, Harriet. The first thing we should understand about this issue, and I agree completely with Mr. Chike Obi, is that the only shareholder of Mainstreet Bank today is AMCON. So if we're talking about shareholders of Mainstreet Bank, I don't know who else you could be referring to. So AMCON should not be impeded to undertake the responsibility for which it was set up, which is to save these banks and then reintroduce them into the market. It's a sacred duty that they must do. Now, the other point to note is that even if we consider them a shareholder, there is no branch of law that better exhibits democracy more than company law. It's your vote that counts. So how many votes do these shareholders have? And they should go to the appropriate place and throw those votes in. If they can't, then let them sell out. But they cannot stand in the way of a process that statutorily is okay and needs to be done. AMCON has repeatedly said that they're not in the business of running companies. They simply just prepare you. They take away the toxic assets and prepare you for better management. So I really don't understand the gripe of these shareholders. This case dates back, this particular case, the one by Boniface. Okay, I think it's 2011 before Afribank.
Yeah, Mr. Chike, we actually mentioned that.
And in that case, the judge denied the application by OKZ and stated categorically upheld the objection of the Mainstreet lawyer at the time that he lacked jurisdiction. He agreed. Admittedly, the matter is an appeal, but the appeal cannot operate as a stay. And those are the legal issues. But on a more general point of interest, we cannot continue to impede processes that are designed to let the economy grow. And as I said earlier on, if everybody has a problem, then let them go to the right forum. Mr. Chike Obi said the point. These were shareholders. They were always shareholders. What did they do when the bank was going down? Did they go to court? Did they exercise shareholders' rights to make sure that those banks didn't sink in the first place? I really don't think they have a point.
Well, but Mr. Etomi, they've actually said that they're going to place a caveat emptor on the banks if AMCON actually goes ahead with the planned sale, despite this the pending litigations, which yourself and Mr. Chike Obi have actually said is not in existence.
For the buyer who is coming in, it's a calculated rate. If I were a buyer, I would not that sort of caveat emptor, because I know anybody who has done the right thing, who has expressed an interest to buy the bank, would be moving in there with very good set of lawyers, and they would assess the legal risks that are involved. Simply putting a mischievous caveat emptor should not by itself deter a serious-minded investor. We must really begin to get over these things and let this economy move forward.
Well, Mr. Etomi, just hold on to your thoughts.